Once upon a time, there was a little girl who loved to dance and play with a mystical little boy in the woods. As they frolicked along through the years, the little boy would also ask, "Will you marry me, Elizabeth?" And every time, she would say he'd have to win her hand. With every challenge accepted, he'd be victorious in every game they played, patiently waiting for her surrender. This continued through the years, till responsibilities in the real world stole her hand instead, leaving the now young man dancing solo. I wonder how much David Bowie I'm gonna get from this. Wintersong is S.J. Jones's debut novel, and it's loosely based off of the 1986 classic Labyrinth. At least 48% of this book is loosely based off of Labyrinth. The other 52 is what I assume to be the author dusting off her old erotic fanfic, attempting to blend the two halves together, and it tries? The first half is arguably the better half. Jones creates a wonderfully atmospheric tone with its setting, and it comes off appropriately dreamlike. It's a coming-of-age story featuring a young woman who laments her fantastical childhood days. When dad's love of the bottle or mom's burden of keeping the home and business afloat on her own weren't saddled on her shoulders. Her younger sister has reached physical maturity, and her baby brother is on the verge of spreading his wings, both of them leaving her behind. Our heroine's journey is her coming to terms with her childhood and the diverging paths her and her siblings are on, coming to accept and love herself for who she is, how her unique talents make her special, and her potential to leave her mark on the world. It really is a shame, though, that all that is buried under pages upon chapters of bitterness, self-loathing, and way too much sexual frustration. Like, holy flaming cockmuffins does this main character thrive on being a pathetic potato of a person. Now, I credit the author for writing a character with this type of intentional ugly depth. The heroine is supposed to come off like this, and I'm sure she's relatable to readers because even I remember having those types of feelings when I was within that age range, but my god, that does not make that remotely pleasant to read. And then we have our Goblin King. At first glance, he's the main reason this is loosely based off of the 1986 movie Labyrinth. Physical appearance and a trickster persona are the only similarities this Goblin King has to Bowie's. When this Goblin King takes off his trickster visage, he then comes off as like a wishy-washy tool of a man. I think, anyway. Early spoiler alert, this book intentionally kept him vague all throughout, just showing us glimpses of what he's really like, mixed in with him playing his violin with just like the most feelings, you know? So, spoilers ahoy, cause this might be a bit of a doozy. Winter is coming, and totally not David Bowie, the Goblin King's out praying for a pretty new waifu. He seemingly targets two pure cinnamon roll who deserve so much better than this Kaith as his new bride. And instead of reading about a genuinely sweet girl who knows what she wants in life, not afraid to go YOLO, and not be an asshole about it, we're stuck reading through this endless self-deprecating, careless YOLOer perspective of the potato older sister Lizel, who's the true target of the Goblin King. This Asthart gifts Lizel with a magic flute, just cause, and uses Kaith, who is yet another sweet but just shy of being a tragic plot device, to lure Lizel to playing a game to win her back. First, the Goblin King erases Kaith's existence from everyone in the real world, and Lizel at first spends weeks composing music like cray before coming to her senses when Kaith's fiancé Hans tries to get a slice of this potato. She packs up all her compositions except for her final one, tying some of her hair with it, becoming the last link of her existence in this world once she's gone. Her grandmother, who knows what's been going on this whole time because she too almost became the Goblin King's bride, sends Lizel off with some cake and wise words. Lizel arrives in the Goblin King, and it's cold as fuck out. She lights all of her compositions on fire so she doesn't freeze to death, and plays the ever-loving fuck out of that flute till she loses consciousness. She wakes up in the underground and is greeted by these little fucks, before finding Kaith while the Goblin King's all like, "Good luck getting her out of here, sucker!" And like there's a sexy goblin party where Kaith's totally getting some action. I'm like, girl, go get some! Hell yeah, you deserve so much better than this shit. And then Lizel and the Goblin King are like, yo. And they like almost get it on, but like, no, not yet. It's too soon for them to fuck. So some more time passes, and Kaith looks more and more like a corpse as her fire, which is like, her life force, is steadily being consumed the longer she lives there. The Goblin King has also hypnotized Keith into thinking she's married a Hungarian noble and is living the high life. She's not. Keith breaks out of this, and they make a run for it, searching for an exit. There's some enchanting, sexy violin music, and Liesl eats a lot of dirt, almost burying herself to reach it. Because she just has to hear more, Keith snaps her out of it, and they find the exit, but the Goblin King's all like, psych! As a final resort, he sends her back to the real world, but he keeps her corpse of a sister. Liesl's like, oh, hell nah! And then, she whips out that magic flute to just crack the crap out of that magic ice beneath her. This wounds the Goblin King, and he admits defeat, but then he just bats his pretty long eyelashes and tells us that, he just really needs a wife, you guys. He just needs one, or the world will just be plunged into, the most freezing eternal winter ever. Come on, I need a waifu, please? And she totally buys this shit and agrees to be his wife instead, so he just sends Keith back alone. Okay, that was only 48% of the book. What about the other 52, you might be asking? The second half is pretty much nothing but these two married idiots failing to actually communicate with one another, but they insist that they totally are. They come, they angst, they fuck, they leave. Somewhere along the way, Liesl learns to respect herself enough not to burn out of existence for the sake of a man, and just bounces. The end. Yeah. Now, I admit, I may have exaggerated a little bit on the lack of things happening in the second half. While the first half was plot-driven, the second half was very character-driven. And, well, okay, look. If you're going 75 on an empty interstate for a couple hours, and then just slam on your brakes to suddenly take in the scenery, you're gonna really piss off the other people in the car who just had their seatbelt knock the damn wind out of them. The pace slows considerably for these two to develop. And it's fine when there's stuff for Potato-chan to do. Okay, so there's this one scene where Liesl is at a tailor's shop, which is also doubles as a previous bride mausoleum. And then she sees all the gowns the previous wives wore and learned a little bit about them. Like how one just oozed beauty and then one was just really prissy and prudish. How those personalities were reflected in what they wore. And I thought that was a nice scene that kind of, showed us a glimpse into the Goblin King's character and his various tastes in women. And, of course, leave it to Potato-chan to request her gown to be dull and ashy brown in color, the color of dirt, the color of mud, resembling the color of sparrow feathers. Why must we be reminded that our main character is such Wonder Bread? And, not even, the tasty, processed white bread kind, just, the bland wheat kind. And, no, not even fucking bread. This bitch is like a goddamn mini wheat. And she's not even a frosted mini wheat. That would be development. No, she's just a plain regular wheat. Mini wheat. No milk. It's just one wheat. The Adventures of Wheaty the Girl. Then we have these two leads that this book stops dead in its tracks for. They start out bickering because Liesl has been very, very, just incredibly sexually frustrated since their wedding night. She has been throwing herself at the Goblin King with the thirst of someone who has been stranded in the Sahara Desert for 5 years, surviving on scorpions and their own urine. And he's all like, nah, please, no, stop, do not want, unsubscribe. They bitch back and forth about it for a while. And at some point, I know, just my eyes just kind of just glaze over. And I can feel my face kind of melting off my own body. It is so boring. But okay. Thank God, though, the deed is finally done at some point. And holy shit. They finally foreplay it up. And then it just happens. And it's like our Potato-chan's eyes have opened to the fucking universe. Through the almighty Goblin D, she has seen the Alpha and then felt the Omega and just experienced the almighty energies of the cosmos and achieved true nirvana. And she craves more. From then on, when I said that they come, they angst, they fuck, and then they leave, that was like the one big thing I really wasn't exaggerating about, because that is what is shown to us. Liesl really doesn't really want to do much more than compose her magnum opus like a madwoman with the Goblin King, then throw him down and have that drill pierce her heavens 24/7, 365. It is actually exhausting sex to read about. When Potato-chan's trying to be coy and initiate foreplay, my fucking eyeballs had to actually lay witness to the words, "We could put down the quill and the bow and play each other instead." If anything, these sex scenes are honestly the only times Jones is able to show their affection to us instead of, just telling them. Albeit my eyes are once again subjected to some flowery crap like, "I let the Goblin King play me for the rest of the evening. The sonata, the blood-stained handkerchief, and the candle forgotten for the time being. He was the bow, I the strings, and his fingers brushed my body to make me sing." Okay. Fuck. I'm sorry. Fucking stupid. Okay. The book tries to throw a conflict bone at the pair with a Changeling subplot that was introduced in the first half and then, bubbled throughout the second half. A Changeling tricks Liesl to end her wedding vow and cross the forbidden border to doom the world to an eternal winter. But it fizzles out just as fast as it happens. It's like, what? What? Something's actually happening? What? What? Wait, what? Oh. Never mind, I guess not. And she immediately renews her vows with the Goblin King, and then everything's just, okay again. And then I guess they, play some more instruments and then fuck some more, and then I don't really remember the rest because my eyes have glazed over and melted off my face again. So it's 88% through at this point, and Liesl and the Goblin King are angsting again. Potato-chan ruminates how much she misses him, and their conversations by the fire where he read her the writings of Erasmus and Kepler and Copernicus, and, she'd have to set aside her own self-consciousness to recite her own poetry. Wait. Whoa. What? When the fuck did this shit happen? Did I have a stroke at some point and miss them having deep philosophical debates and poetry readings by the roaring fire? No, that can't be right. I mean, look, I may have gotten bored a few times, but I could not have blacked out that badly. Come on. Hold on. No. Then pause. Let me take a second to Control F on my Kindle here, and let me just see if I can find. No. That has never actually happened in the book. No. Book. No. You cannot do that. You cannot hold me hostage for half a book to specifically focus on Muckles and Chuckles over here subjecting me to their inane angst and sex, and then just actually gloss over the actual fucking bonding moments. That's fucking important to establishing a relationship and making it believable. But no, God forbid I miss any actual scenes of him sensually pile driving her. Fuck, no. Oh my god. Okay, book. Let me tell you this. I am a skeptical bitch of a reader, okay? Honey Boo Boo Child, sweet honey thing. If you don't show me that there's more to them than said angsting and fucking, I'm not gonna buy it. Okay. So, by the laws of the internet,
Pics or it never happened.
Prior to the Goblin King, the main relationships explored are between Lizel and her younger siblings. Our potato starts off sizing up her own sister, mentioning how scandalously unclothed she is, while comparing her full womanly physique to her sallow, thinly form. Keith is charismatic, unabashed, and everything Lizel is not. So Potato-chan mentally criticizes her to make herself feel better. On the other side, Lizel's also got a younger brother, Yosef, who she practically worships. She's got two siblings who are pure cinnamon rolls, and she favors the one who isn't hotter than her. Where Lizel remember how much she looked like a little hobgoblin as a child, only her brother was there to call her beautiful. No. It don't matter how much Keith will go on about how skilled she is with composing and all the beautiful music she can write. She just can't possibly understand the world she and Yosef grew up in. Lizel reminisces playing and dancing with the Goblin King and Yosef when they were kids, but grew to believe all that shit was just fantasy and never really happened, while at the same time clinging to that fantasy. And, it may seem like I'm harping, but I actually really like the contrasting relationships and its themes. It really does make Lizel come off as a three-dimensional character. I just kind of wish that the book didn't really brick me across the face with it, because, it ain't all that subtle. Like, I get it, book, okay? The brother symbolizes the rose-colored childhood fantasies and her favoring him while she's still clinging to that past. And the sister is a symbol for maturing toward adulthood and accepting the responsibilities that come with it. Lizel scrutinizing Keith and practically slut-shaming her while envying her ability to charm anyone is Lizel's denial to move forward in life, all the while wishing she was seen, well, at all, much less one among the adults. I like that you got this kind of depth to your book. I really fucking do. But, homie, my face is pretty black and blue from you smacking me around with your point. There is also the dichotomy between Yosef and the Goblin King with Lizel. She's got a strong attachment to Yosef. When they play their music, it's almost described as Lizel composing for an entity greater than herself, creating the thing that's tailor-made for him. Lizel reveres her brother, put him on a golden pedestal that made him unattainable to her. But pretty much any validation from Yosef is Lizel's only source of self-worth. When the Goblin King came into the picture, that idolization practically transfers over to him at first. The difference being, though, when these two play music, there's no pedestal. They play with an ebb and flow, saying that he interpreted her, that he played her. That aside, I do want to mention again that Jones writes some pretty rad imagery. It really doesn't disappoint. She paints pictures beautifully of all the settings and really knows how to make everything atmospheric and dreamlike. I really wish that I had the time and the skill to fully paint these to justice, because Jones really did create a gorgeous world. I will admit that. I concede to that. Her world building is pretty good. If I really had to pinpoint one specific thing that I genuinely really loved about this book, though, it would be the ending. I gotta give credit to Potato-chan. Near the book's climax, our potato is able to take some time and engage in some serious introspection. You could just kind of see her, though, making some kind of pro-con list, being like, you know, on one hand, my life, my family, air, grass, trees, the sun. But like, that god-tier dick though. Oh, decisions. Luckily, this is the one thing that's been progressively building throughout both halves of the story. And there's the ball drop that the Goblin King loved his first wife enough to let her go. So yeah, you know, the signs may have been there in neon lights, but mixed with my own disdain for these two characters' lack of displayed chemistry, I was beyond relieved that this was the plot point that was followed through. And I gotta say, it really did leave the tone of the end beautifully bittersweet. Overall, Wintersong is a very disjointed novel. It had a first solid half that was supported by the bare bones base skeleton to work with. Meanwhile, the second half slows considerably, an attempt to focus on Lizel and the Goblin King's romance. But it's just a venture of telling emotions that should be there, but not backing it up with the actual showing part. Sex scenes only show me their lust book. The characters so have a degree of depth to them, but their likability is a mileage that varies. It's a good read for the first half, you know, and then just kind of like skin the second half unless you're really craving some flowery smut. And then you just check back in around like 88% when she decides to bounce. Then you can dust your hands off with a satisfying read, put that shit on the shelf, and move on with your life. Is what I would have said a year ago, or like, I guess, like a year and a half ago at this point, before I found out that there's a sequel. And Lord knows when the fuck I'm gonna get to that. Great! More potato! That's what I fucking want. I want to go back to the, stories and adventures of the mini-wheat. Maybe this time she'll, get frosted. And that'll actually be good character growth. Maybe they'll actually follow through with the Changeling subplot that they, kind of flaccid out in my face. That sucked. Oh, God. What if she goes back to the Goblin King? I hope not. Like, Lizel, you were not made to be in a relationship. You are so much better alone. Fuck. Well, till next time then, Potato-chan. Till next time.